I'm so grateful to be here. This is lovely. I'm glad to see all your friendly faces. So I'm going to be reading from my debut novel, It's Been. But I'll just say a little bit about the book before I do. So it centers on four neighbors who share a cul-de-sac in clearing a fictional town in Oregon in the shadow of a dormant volcano. And the four neighbors are Ginny, a surgeon who lives with her husband Mark and 11-year-old son Noah. Mark, a wildlife biologist who studies how animals can predict natural disasters. Cass, a new mother struggling to continue her graduate studies in philosophy. And Samara, a young woman mourning the recent death of her mother. And so the book follows these three characters as they go about their lives until some strange things start happening. They begin to see visions that they don't entirely understand. And as the book unfolds, we begin to realize that the visions are glimpses into an alternate reality, one that's similar to their lives but with some startling differences. So the most frequent question I get about the book is, where did the idea come from? It's not always easy to pinpoint where ideas come from after the fact, as the writers in the room I'm sure know. But I can tell you that I started writing the book after I had my first child. And at the heart of the book is a kind of emotional impulse to understand the feeling of being split in two when you're a new parent. And I was just talking with my friend Mika about this very phenomenon. And I think of this in sort of two ways. In terms of time, the person you were before you had your first child, the person you are after, but also in terms of space, and this only intensifies as your kids grow older, this like feeling of needing to be in more than one place at a time. But only there were two or three, Mika and I decided that three of us would be the perfect number of selves to cover all the bases: career, personal relationship with spouse, kids. But of course, the central premise of the book is broader than that, because everyone has thought about the what ifs of their life, how things could have gone a different way if they made a different choice, if chance events had happened another way. And with that, I'm going to read a little bit from the very start of the book. And this is from Ginny's point of view, and she's the surgeon. This is from chapter 1. The earth trembles. She tastes metal. That's how it starts, on a moonless Sunday in Clearing, Oregon, in the shadow of the dormant volcano locals call Broken Mountain. Just after 10 p.m., Ginny stands at the bathroom sink, a toothbrush in one hand and a paperback in the other. She always reads like this in minutes parceled out from her packed days, in the bathroom after everyone has gone to bed, or parked in her car when she gets to the hospital a little early. The heat whirs in the vent. She considers staying up to read another chapter. Her husband, Mark, is already asleep in the next room. Her pager buzzes from the bedroom, and she retrieves it from her bedside table. A series of familiar numbers scrolls across the tiny backlit screen. The emergency room. Damn. She dials the number. ER. The nurse answers. This is Dr. McDonald. I was paged. Let me get Dr. Pierce. Classical music plays energetically in her ear. She sits down on the edge of the bed. Suddenly, she's tired. One of the cats jumps down from the comforter and stalks out the door toward Noah's bedroom, but Mark doesn't stir. He's learned how to sleep through her nighttime pages. His face is naked without his glasses, his curly hair black against the white sheets. She turns down the volume on the phone and switches on her lamp. Mark rolls over on his side but doesn't wake. The music is tinny and far away in her ear. The floor shakes. There's a metallic taste in her mouth. Her vision abruptly alters. Where Mark was sleeping, a woman appears. Her face is so familiar. Edith, her friend Friend's hair is always pulled back in a bun at the hospital. Now it fans out in crinkly waves across the pillow. Freckles stipple her shoulders and the top of her chest. Ginny smells warm skin and damp sheets. She hears her own quickened breath. A swell of desire, uncomfortably strong, rises inside her abdomen. The woman reaches out as if to stroke Ginny's hair. Then, in an instant, she's gone. Mark's back in the bed. Ginny rubs her eyes, blinking furiously. Dr. McDonald, Brian Pierce's strident voice comes through the phone. We've got a 75-year-old man with a rigid abdomen, white blood count of 24,000, fever of 101.2, peritoneal signs, and free air on abdominal films. Came into the ER about an hour ago. His name is Robert Kells. Can you come in and take a look? I'm gonna read a little bit from Cass's point of view. This is from chapter 3, and she's the new mother that's needing to be in two places at once. Cass listens at her daughter's nursery door, the dog's breath hot against the backs of her knees. A minute goes by, then 2. The whimper she heard through the baby monitor has ceased. The only sound is the swish of Bear's tail. She lets her shoulders relax a little and soft steps back to the spare bedroom she's using as her study, past the moving boxes that line the hallway. Leah woke before 5, and Cass has nursed her 3 times since then. The incredible first year says the baby's fierce hunger is normal for an 8-week-old, but nothing about it feels normal. Cass's eyes are gritty with lack of sleep. Her breasts are chafed and tender. In her study, she sits down at her desk, presses the baby monitor to her ear, and holds her breath. Sweet silence. She tucks her feet under the chair, the wooden rungs cool against her toes, and gulps her lukewarm coffee. Bear settles with a low grunt on the carpet, and she taps out an email to her husband on her phone. He won't be able to read it or respond, not for at least a week, because he's on a 5-week research trip to collect marine samples for his lab at Oregon University, and there's no internet on the ship. But she sends it anyway. Dear Amar, I made a mistake. Turn the boat around so you can come home and make me toast with cheese. Making toast with cheese requires 2 hands. Then you can walk the baby around the block, and I can take a long shower, during which I'll hear no sound but the rush of the water past my ears. Love, Cass. She stands up and surveys the stacks of boxes that fill the room. Amar sliced the tops open for her before he left. They contain books from her unfinished PhD in metaphysics at Oregon University, where she was writing a dissertation on the philosophy of counterfactuals. If-then statements like, if I hadn't been assigned a cubicle in the sciences library, I would never have met Amar. Or, if I'd remembered to pack my birth control pills on our camping trip to the Redwoods, Leah wouldn't exist. She takes Quine's Theories and Things out of a box and opens its marked up pages. She recognizes her own small, sinuous handwriting in the margins, but it feels like someone else wrote these words, not her. She's a person who can't manage to put 2 words together when she goes out to buy diapers, whose thoughts move through her mind like wisps of fog. She chooses a page at random. She forces herself to read 1 line, just 1, and to understand it. She scrutinizes the first sentence on page 34, once, twice, and then something catches. Something familiar, something strange, and the air seems to tighten around her head. She reads the sentence again. She scratches her scalp. She reads the note that hovers above it in the margin's white space. It reminds her of something. No, not that, another thing. Not something she's thought before or read before. Something new, something. An electronic whimper erupts from the monitor. Only one, but when she turns back to the page, the thought's gone. The idea that seemed like something solid, that made her feel like herself for a minute, has evaporated so completely, she questions it was ever there.